Good morning, nerds, and the layoffs will continue until better games are made. That's right, Xbox is losing 3 studios here in the near future. Again, it's almost like them they gobbled up a bunch of studios, right? And back then, I actually thought this was a good idea. This was great. You know, they're going to be able to produce things that maybe they couldn't have produced beforehand and stuff, and we might get something good out of it. And then Microsoft and Xbox had to pick up that whole my modern audience agenda kind of BS, right? And it's all falling apart. So grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, shall we? Hey, before we get started, I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So hit that notification bell, hit the follow button, the subscribe button, all that good stuff. So if you want to come join us, chill out while we're just playing a video game Monday and Wednesday, go ahead and do so. And if you want to join the conversation on Friday when we talk about news like this, well, you got to do the same thing there too, and you can come join us then. I'll see you then. So we've got 3 studio closures. And some people have gotten really mad at me recently because I said modern audience. They were very, very not happy with that because apparently this has nothing to do with that culture war. But that's the thing. It has everything to do with that culture war. You know, the war that you want to passively stay out of and all this other stuff, or you want to pretend doesn't affect things like Double Fine. Never mind the fact that they work with Anita and stuff like that with Psychonauts 2. But, you know, rewarding a studio like that, it's not exactly something I want to do to begin with, because Anita is the original grifter, right? She knows nothing. I have no idea what kind of work she actually did to that, but I bet the game could have been way better if she wasn't involved in it. But give credit where credit is due. It did sell like 1.7 million or something like that, I believe, copies. For surely that's how many it sold. That wasn't the profit. Shoot, I have to look it up real quick. Yeah, so yeah, it was like 1.7 copies. Yeah, that took me a little bit longer than I wanted to, but it's early. Right? Anyway, so yeah, well, I'll give credit where credit is due. It sold moderately okay for a game of its whatever, and from the company that it's coming from, I guess it sold, yeah, okay. As for in the grand scheme of things, when it comes to Microsoft, Xbox and all that stuff, it did not sell anywhere near what it needed to in order to survive. So what do we got here? We have Double Fine Studio. Double Fine is one of the studios being shut down, and right here is where they're addressing the studio shutdown with an emoji. I don't know how else to put it, but yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, okay. Of course, paired with it here is when they worked with Anita on Psychonauts 2. So, you know, if you want to sit there and say that this is not one of those DEI kind of companies because they had one banger, be my guest, but they had one banger. That's not enough. But yeah, somebody was absolutely crashing out at me yesterday because of my statement about the modern audience. And they're like, but they made Psychonauts, and they made Psychonauts 2. How can you call them? They're not part of your... Yeah, they absolutely are. I'm sorry. They decided to have the original grifter come in to help them sanitize their game. It could have been a lot worse than what it was. But anyway, we also have Ninja Theory, who is Hellblade's creator, because why not? They're also going to go down. Staffers were told on a call on Monday about the closure, but they are hoping the studio will find a buyer. That's right. I'm sure I said this, but you know, they're being closed, so they got to find a buyer for the most part, or they can go independent. So there's also that, but then there's heavy layoffs when that happens. Oh, and on top of that, Microsoft has reportedly shut down Compulsion Games, the game studio behind South of Midnight, because that game sold like hotcakes. Yeah, so it won some kind of award. I don't even know what it's called, but it won an award, and nobody played this game except for, I think, Asmongold. Like, he's the only person out there in the world who probably played this game, and I think he kind of liked it. I don't quite remember because I don't watch him like that. but from what I heard, I think he liked it. I could be wrong. Maybe that was a different game that he liked, Avowed or something. I don't know. But anyhow, yeah. So the biggest what is it? The Roach King himself apparently, I guess, decided to like this game, and everybody was like, "You're an idiot," and then we moved on with our lives, right? So, actually, I have no idea if that actually happened. It could have been a different game that I'm thinking of, but yeah. So Compulsion Games out the door, and they're upset because naturally it won some kind of award, and it's almost as if your awards mean nothing. So what exactly has Compulsion done? Compulsion's done these things here. Contrast, We Happy Feet south of midnight, so they're out the door. Nothing of note, to be totally honest. Ninja Theory has done quite a few things, from Hellblade, Disney Infinity, Devil May Cry stuff, and it's like when they closed down those studios over at ZeniMax, right? You've got the studio that did Hi-Fi Rush getting caught up in the mix with the other studios who didn't do a whole lot to begin with, right? And that's the part that really sucks about this. Is these other two studios, Double Fine and Ninja Theory, aren't exactly the worst things in the world, even if they are dabbling in the woke nonsense, right? They weren't the worst studios in the world. The problem is they didn't really do a whole lot either. I mean, granted, they have a bigger resume than the first studio that got shut down. It's just they didn't bring in money, is what I mean. That's why when those other studios were shut down, like the studio from Hi-Fi Rush that I honestly can't remember its name. That's the reason why I keep saying the Hi-Fi Rush studio, okay? They kept Bethesda, right? Because Bethesda has the potential to make bank when the next Elder Scrolls finally drops. Even if they did fumble with 76, it's going to be one of those, it's going to be like a GTA 6 kind of deal, just over on the Bethesda side. May not be as big as GTA 6, but it is going to be huge when that new Elder Scrolls finally drops, more than likely. Just because that's how it is when it comes to Bethesda and Elder Scrolls. Unless they've done something drastic. Which, it's always possible that they've screwed it up somehow. But anyway. Yeah, so these companies have done things. You've got Double Fine, which has been very, very active. They've definitely done a lot of things. They've done Psychonauts back in 2021, which was 5 years ago at this point, and haven't really done anything since. Something called Keeper in 2025, and Kiln, which I've never heard of. Like most of the things that these companies have done, I've never even heard of because they just quite frankly aren't that good. I mean, granted, you're going to find people who are like cult fans of some of these games. That it happens with most games, right? It's like Psychonauts was not exactly let's just say it had a cult following. Okay, so the fact that it actually sold as much as it did, I'm kind of surprised about it. But just like Hi-Fi Rush, it's not enough to save your studio from closure when Xbox screws up. So, what are we talking about? So you got Xbox, Microsoft. They're pushing my audience, my modern audience stuff, the woke agenda, that sort of thing, right? And in doing so, while they were trying to push all this, they acquired a lot of studios. Okay, so let's go with it. I don't know if this is a complete list or not, but I'm trying to list them out here out of memory. And I should have asked never mind. I'm going to ask the chat, GPT. Anyway, hopefully it will give me a decent enough list here. All right, so this is going to give me the biggest acquisitions, not all the subsidies, the smaller studios and stuff underneath, but the big things. So we've got the original Xbox Game Studio acquisitions with Rare, Mojang, Ninja Theory, Obsidian, NXL Entertainment, Compulsion Games, Undead Labs, Playground Games, and Double Fine Productions. And then we have the Bethesda ZeniMax acquisition back in 2021, where they paid $7.5 billion for these companies. Bethesda Game Studios, id Software, Arcanon Studios, Machine Games, Tango Gameworks. That's Hi-Fi Rush's studio, isn't it? And anyway, ZeniMax Online Studios, Alpha Dog Games, Roundhouse Studios. Then, of course, in 2023, they acquired Activision Blizzard King, which was Activision Blizzard Entertainment, which is one of my favorite studios. King, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, Sledgehammer Games, Ravensoft, Beanox, High Moan Studios, and Toys for Bob, which has recently come, or I guess a few years ago, became independent again. Some of the most famous current studios, of course, is Halo Studios, The Correlation, Rare, the Turn 10 Studio, Bethesda, Obsidian Playground, and Blizzard Entertainment. Now, all those studios are the studios that probably have the highest chances of making a banger of a game and making these acquisitions worthwhile. All right, those last ones. But yeah, Microsoft and Xbox has bought a lot of studios recently, and they need to justify stuff. The problem is, a lot of these studios haven't produced anything of substance. You've got things like Redfall, Halo Infinite, Forza Motorsports, Senua Saga Hellblade 2, which was Ninja Theory, South of Midnight, Compulsion Games, who knew, Avowed, The Outer Worlds 2, Minecraft Legends, Aura History Untold, Bleeding Edge, which was a Ninja Theory game as well. All of these games failed to meet expectations over the last 5 years. That means Xbox lost money on these things, and somebody has to get cut. And why did they lose money? Why? Because they decided to focus on the woke agenda, the modern audience types. They decided that they were going to expand their horizons and bring in that modern audience, you know? And because they made a game for absolutely everybody, they wound up making a game for nobody. Therefore, the games failed to meet expectations. 343 has been fumbling Halo since they've acquired the damn thing. So, I mean, it sucks. It really does, and I miss Halo. But yeah, anyway, let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya.
9, 8, 7,
数字がゼロになる前にポチッとしてみる。仕方ないね。またの挑戦を待っておるぞ。